welcome back to my kitchen. Today I'm making mango and lime tarts. This is a recipe that I'm doing for Mother's Day. It's super easy to make, it's delicious, and you can make it in advance. So I wanted to share the recipe with you guys. Maybe when you're looking for a different dessert to make for Mother's Day to impress friends and family, and I think this is the perfect one. So let's go. So the first thing that we need to do is extend the dough, and I'm using short crust pastry that I bought in the shop, and putting a little bit of flour on your work surface. Extend it using a roller pin until it's about 3 millimeters thick. You don't want it to be too thick or too thin. Then with the cookie cutter, I'm cutting all the tarts individually, and the size of the cookie cutter, it will really depend on the size of the muffin tin that you're using. If you want to check out what the size of the cookie cutter that I use, head to the blog and onto the recipe, because I'm putting it there on the recipe just as a guide as to what sort of size you can use. So once you've cut all the tarts, then put them on the muffin tin, pressing down carefully so as to create a well in the middle of the tarts. And I didn't put any oil or any butter on the tin because I'm using a non-stick, and also the dough has a lot of butter, so that will help it not to stick. Once all the tarts are done, we are going to blind bake it, and what this means is we're going to bake it putting some parchment paper or baking paper on top of each tart, and then holding it down with some baking beans, or in my case that I didn't have baking beans, I'm using some lentils, and you can use rice, beans, lentils. It's just really something to hold it down. Once they're all done, bake at 180 degrees centigrade for 15 minutes. Once the tarts are baked, remove from the oven and straight away remove the parchment paper or the baking paper that you use to blind bake it. This is to avoid heat creating moisture on the tart and then becoming soggy. So what I like to do after removing the paper is put them back in the oven for 10 minutes at 120 degrees centigrade, and this is just to remove any extra moisture or any moisture the tarts could have on the top. Once that time passed, remove the tarts from the tin and put them on a cooling rack. And you really have to do that straight away, because again, heat will create moisture, and moisture will make your tart soggy. And nobody wants a soggy tart, let alone a soggy bottom. So whilst the tarts are cooling on the rack, we can start to make the cream. And for this, we're going to use granulated gelatin that we're going to mix with cold water and dissolved very, very, very finely. So when you're starting to dissolve the gelatin in the water, you're going to notice that it's going to get really thick. Once it gets really thick, add hot water or boiling water, and it's going to help the gelatin dissolve even better and remove that thickness from the gelatin. So once you've done that, set aside, and we can start to blend the mango. So using a food processor or a blender, blend the mango as to become a puree or a smooth paste. And every so on, just with the spatula, remove the bits that get stuck to the sides of the container. And this is just to be sure that all the pieces of mango are completely blended to avoid any large pieces in the cream. So as you can see here, there's a smooth mango puree, and this is what you want, because this is going to mix very well with the cream as if you had large pieces of mango. Once you've done that, add the gelatin to the mango and blend again, and this is just to be sure that the mango and the gelatin are very well combined and very well mixed, because this is going to affect the texture, the overall texture of the cream. We want to have a very smooth and mousse-like cream, and that's why we're using the gelatin. So remove the blade once you've mixed it well and set aside. So for the cream, what we're going to do is in a standalone mixer, add the cream, and I'm adding a couple of tablespoons of powdered sugar. I prefer powdered sugar over granulated or caster sugar because it dissolves quicker, easier, and you avoid having any grains of sugar, and it's also not as sweet as the other two sugar, but you can use caster or granulated if you like. Then whip until you have stiff peaks. Once you've got the cream, add the puree onto the cream and mix everything well. And this is where you're gonna get the magic going, because you've got the sweet, sweet, sweet mango and the creamy, 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 creamy cream. And guys, this is really delicious. Once you've got all the cream and the mango well combined, then zest 1 lime. And this is gonna lift the flavors up because you've got that zestiness of the lime plus the sweetness of the mango, and then the cream, which is just gets everything blended together. And then the remaining pieces of mango from the mango puree, cut them in little squares, and this is what we're going to use to put at the bottom and top of the tart. This is optional. I just think that it just gives another texture and another dimension and more flavor to the tarts, and also they make really cute decorations as well. So once you've got all the ingredients done, start to assemble the tarts. So I'm putting about 3 to 4 pieces of mango on the bottom, and with a spoon I'm filling in each of the tarts. You don't want to put too much cream because you're gonna finish them off later with some more cream on top. So just put a little bit on the tart just to cover the mango pieces and just fill really the hole in the tarts. Repeat the same step until you've done all the tarts. Once all the tarts are done, put them in an airtight container overnight in the fridge. This will help the gelatin and the cream set and become more like a mousse type texture. Next day, remove them from the fridge, and with a piping bag, then we're gonna put some more cream on top. If you don't have a piping bag, don't worry, you can use the same technique as yesterday, using a spoon and just putting the cream on top. If you do have a piping bag, just snip the end of the piping bag to then start to fill the tarts on top, and just go round and round slowly, and then to the middle, and then making a tip at the top. And it doesn't have to be perfect. These are homemade, but they look so cute, I think, doing it this way. Repeat the process for all the 12 tarts, and if you've never used a piping bag but you are using a piping bag right now, every time you use the pipe and you squeeze cream out, twist the end, so the top end of the piping bag, and this will create more pressure so the cream comes out better and avoids having some air pockets. So when you've done all the tarts, then I like to put 3 pieces of mango on each, and I don't know why, but I think it looks better on even numbers than even numbers, but that's me. Once you've done all the tarts, then zest more lime on top of each, and I think this looks so cute and so beautiful because it's got the little bit of green on top of the yellow cream, and it just looks fantastic, and also shows the people what the tarts have, and it also adds incredible taste to the tarts. So continue to do the same with all the tarts, and once you've done them, then ready to eat. And these are my mango and lime tarts, guys. They are amazing. Okay, so here's one of the little ones that I made, so let's try. Now you guys know that I am lactose intolerant and gluten intolerant, so really I'm gonna try this because, well, I have to try them. But I'm just gonna try it a little bit, so let's see. Yeah, really nice. It's so it's so fresh because you got the creaminess of the cream, and then you've got that zest from the lime, and then I put in the bottom a little pieces of mango as well as on the top. So when you bite, you've got the cream and then you've got little bites of mango. It's really, really, really nice. Like, yeah, definitely I could eat 2 or 3 of them for sure. But unfortunately, I can't. But if you're making this recipe, please leave your comments below. I love to hear what you guys have to say about my recipes or my videos. And if you go and head to my blog, you can print all the ingredients there. You can print the entire recipe with all the amounts and the tips and everything. And also you can rate it there. You can take how many stars you think the recipe should have. And remember, now that you're here in the channel, subscribe to the channel. And guys, I'll see you next week with another recipe. Bye.